This is the Bat Pod.
The Bat Pod presents Gotham Currents, a podcast about current releases of Batman comics.
Welcome to this edition of Gotham Currents, or for this episode, it's going to be DC Currents.
DC Currents.
My name is Bill Bere, and joining me tonight, as you already heard him, John Koos.
DC Currents. Yeah, we're going to branch out. Hopefully we stop at some point, but I'm excited about branching into the teen books.
Yeah, should be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
If you're coming to Gotham Currents thinking it's Batman all day long, this is our monthly DC show where we're going to talk about the team books in DC Comics, Titans, the JSA, and Justice League Unlimited. And am I missing something?
Well, there's other team books, but like there's Birds of Prey, but we're not going to do it for now. Maybe when a new arc really truly starts that grabs our attention. But I think this is a good start. These are the big teams.
Yes, it's very exciting. So,
bing bong.
If you'd like to join the conversation, or email is the podcast at thebatpod.com. We are on Blue Sky, Threads, and Facebook. Just search the Bat Pod podcast. So tonight we're going to be talking about Teen Titans number 16 and Justice League of America number 1.
Close. Justice Society, just JSA number 1.
Did I say Justice League of America?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you're excited about it.
Yeah, that's right. It's Justice Society of America JSA number 1. Let's head to Titans number 16.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
All right, yeah, we're going into Titans number 16. We are going all in with Titans number 16. This is that new era that seems like the old era, but it's the new era. All in. And we've got a new writer who's got big shoes to fill from Tom Taylor, John Layman, the artist Pete Woods, and letterer Wes Abbott. We'll do the summary right now, then we'll come back to that cover. So our issue starts off with the Titans touring the new Justice League Unlimited Watchtower, where they have their own wing, sleeping quarters and everything. Wally West Flash has given them a tour. There's a discussion about whether the Titans are independent of the Justice League, even though they are members. That's kind of resolved that they are in the Justice League, but they can do what they want kind of thing. And then a few non-Titan JLUers are in the background, like Elastigirl or Woman. I'm not sure which these days, of the Doom Patrol, Mr. Terrific, Zatanna, Elongated Man, because there's always going to be people just hanging around. So, I like that. I like the people in the back anyway. And then Roy Harper shows up, implying that he's coming back to the Titans after an extended hiatus. The Question, Renee Montoya version, who runs the Watchtower with sort of an iron fist, she chastises Beast Boy for taunting an alien creature that is part of the Watchtower Zoo, and things get kind of out of control, then settled pretty quick. Wally announces that he's taking time off from the Titans because he's got his hands full with Barry Allen losing his powers and helping the new JLU get off the ground. I have to get used to the JLU. The Titans then boom back to the Titans Tower. After some cute banter, Donna Troy has a moment where she sees herself and the others in their original Titans costume. She calls it deja vu. She pictures Dick in as Robin, and then she snaps out of it. Then they go in the tower. When inside, Nightwing announces he's stepping back a little bit, not quitting the Titans, but turning over leadership to Donna Troy. I think it's a good choice. Roy Harper doesn't seem enthusiastic, but then he kind of explains he was longing for the good old days when Dick ran the team and Wally was on it, because he just kind of came out of this whole thing with Ollie betraying everybody, or thinking Ollie betrayed everybody during Absolute Power, and he just kind of wanted to go back home, I guess, and kind of chill things out. Then we all start. The Titans, not we, the Titans start experiencing all kinds of psychic trauma, remembering bad things from the past, like when Roy used to shoot up heroin for a living. Raven thinks she sees Trigon and unleashes sort of a power blast of sorts that knocks them all out, except for Roy, who sees the Clock King standing over them. Clock King makes some ominous speech about how he's more powerful now, and that if they thought Amanda Waller was a problem, just wait for him. And then Donna emerges from her stupor, and she looks like she's ready to clock the Clock King, saying, "I'm not going to let you take them without a fight." And then that's how the issue ends. And it says, next issue, kill the past. Woo. Okay, Bill. Big shoes to fill with Tom Taylor. But before we get into that, what do you think of this all-in cover?
I think this was a cool cover. I mean, you know, it's similar to the other all-in. We got our first team here, so it shows everybody on the team. So it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, so I guess they're basically telling us on the cover, this is the team for now. You got Cyborg, Starfire, Nightwing, Arsenal, and Raven. So that's pretty much the team. But Donna Troy's not on the cover, which I find weird. Oh, and then there's a Beast Boy as a little bird back there. So I'm not sure why Donna Troy's not on the cover.
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah, kind of weird since she's now the new leader. But anyway, yeah, what'd you think of the book? Anything pop out at you? What'd you think of the tempo?
Well, the first thing that popped out at me is the Flash's costume.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what to say about it. Did you like it?
No, and I read the most recent Flash.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if that was in there like that.
Oh, it was.
It was, but did they explain it? Did they explain why it's like
black,
half black? I mean,
not that I recall. No,
for those who aren't looking at it, you got the traditional red cowl, but sort of around the mouth, it's black. And then the shoulders, shoulder pads, and the arms and the boots are red, but most of it's black with the Flash symbol. And I'd have to go back and look. I might have glossed over it. I don't think they explained it though.
No, I didn't get an explanation about it. I think it looks okay. I'm going to be nice here. I think it looks hideous. I don't enjoy that costume at all. I think, I think let's go back to the regular Flash costume.
I hear you. Like if this was like Earth 37 or something, fine.
That's different.
But this isn't working for me at all. Good initial pickup on that. Yeah. What'd you think about this? This stuff about their tour in the Watchtower. I kind of liked it. If you see people still working in the background. Some of them are. I mentioned them earlier in the summary, and then some of them are nondescript robots and others and stuff. But I kind of like that they kind of jumped right in on all in number one. This whole JLU thing was just presented to us within the last month or so, with the end of Absolute Power and all that stuff, and then the DC special. What'd you think of just the idea of just them starting off in the JLU Watchtower?
I like how this is all interconnected, because if you ask me over the years about continuity, there's some continuity junkies and there's people that don't like continuity. I love continuity. I love seeing this, that it's connected. You know, they have their own little Titans area, I guess. You know, their headquarters, but they're still a part of the Justice League Unlimited, and they're having a conversation here, like, okay, how's this gonna work? What's up with the Titans team? You know, we're part of the Justice League, but we're our own team too. And then Flash announces, "Yeah, I'm quitting to concentrate on the Justice League." But aren't you all in the Justice League?
Yeah, no, I guess it's nuanced. So unless there's a hero that wasn't invited to
Hmm.
be a member of the Justice League Unlimited, I guess everybody kind of is. So that means that I guess you could still have teams operate independently. The way I kind of am seeing it, they haven't revealed it yet too much, but it's like everybody's got their hero business, like the individual heroes, Superman, Batman, whatever. They're doing their thing. Then they got like a team like the Titans, and they got their own missions and stuff. But if there's like a giant world calamity kind of a thing, or a space crisis, then they call in support and the others, I guess. I'm cool with it for now. One thing I thought was funny was, well, they did make a comment. Starfire makes a comment like, I wonder how many Titans towers could fit inside the watchtower.
Yeah, the
And then,
watchtower has to be humongous.
yeah, because Beast Boy makes a joke. We don't know if it's, he always is sarcastic. He's a jokester, but he says, I'd guess a dozen. But that pretty much tells you this thing is like super star destroyer. No, it's bigger than that. It's like it's ridiculous. It's probably like the Empire State Building times 4 or something. I don't know, but I'm okay with that. It's fine. Easy target probably though. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
would think so. I think the way that this Justice League is going to work is, they're going to have these missions or things that pop up, and it's going to say, hey, this is who you should send on this mission. So maybe this particular storyline, let's say there's 3 missions or something like that, and they send 3 groups of heroes depending on what their abilities are and that sort of thing. But I'm just guessing until we get
yeah.
that Justice League book.
Yeah, but I'm kind of I'm a continuity. I guess I hadn't thought about it, but I'm a continuity junkie too.
Mhm.
And I like how they reference the things that are going on in the individual books a bit. They mentioned Barry's lost his powers. That's in the Flash book. They mentioned Roy coming back because he wants to sort of get back to basics, and he's kind of got his head filled with all that happened with Ollie. And I like that. The one thing that's funny about continuity junkiness is, and this goes back to the Bat Pod, the Gotham Currents that we're doing with Detective and Batman right now, which we both like, is
Mhm.
when a superhero has 2 books about them as individuals. My brain hurts sometimes with continuity going, okay, because in the team books they seem to do a decent job of at least referencing sort of the goings on in the Superman book or whatever. But when there's the 2 books that are running
Oh yeah, they
in parallel,
rarely
it's
reference each
like
other.
they don't even they never reference each other. But I guess it would be way too hard because the writers are trying to create a sellable graphic novel that you don't have to cross reference everything and all that. But the one thing I thought was funny and almost a little disturbing is like sort of Fortress of Solitude ish in this idea that this thing's been open for like a month and a half and they already got this like alien creature zoo. I'm not sure if
Right.
how that sat with me. And was it necessary other than this one scene with this weird little baby looking creature that Beast Boy accidentally taunted? I I don't know. Really, guys, is that your priority? Is to create the Watchtower alien creature zoo? I don't know.
It basically is a reason to have Roy show up
I guess.
and say
I
he's now
suppose
back with the
so.
team. So
Yeah. Well, if that was the main reason, they could have just like said, "Oh, this is Squidoid over here that was stranded after an event," and then. But anyway, the zoo thing was weird. I did like and this is a continuation of some of her attitude. I guess it was in, DC Special. Okay, the question Renee Montoya kind of like laying down the law. I thought that was kind of a cool little.
we're getting a mini series from her.
Is she just gonna be wandering around the watchtower
No,
yelling at people?
no, it's like some mystery in the watchtower because she's security now.
Yeah, she's security.
The question is the security, so she's really micromanaging everybody here. But I did like this scene with her, but I'm looking forward to that miniseries just to see.
I am too, because I just reread 52, and I forgot how much I loved her storyline, and I think she's a cool character. So I'm looking forward to that
Absolutely.
too. So that, and then this whole thing about we don't have to redo the whole summary, but them going to the Titans Tower and sort of having these deja vu moments. Before we get to that, what do you think of Dick not leading the team? Has he ever not led the Titans?
Well,
Well,
I'm
or
not
Teen
going to be
Titans?
somebody that you ask about that because I'm not going to admit that I know all my Titans history and that sort of thing. But from what I can remember, he seemed to be like a natural leader that would always lead. But I can understand with everything that's going on in his book and that sort of thing that he'd want
Yeah.
to take a step back. And
Well, the funny thing about it is, and no shade being thrown here on Nightwing at all, because I love myself some
Mhm.
Nightwing. I love Dick Grayson. Is that I always saw it's depicted over and over again over the last 70 years in cartoons and in books and everything else that this is a pretty powerful team, right? You got Raven, you got Starfire, you got Cyborg. These are all pretty heavy hitters, right? And
Mhm.
Donna Troy. And what Dick brings to the table when they're fighting the likes of Trigon and Brother Blood and all these other kind of cosmic kind of level baddies is that Dick, being just a human who's got great skills and acrobatics and fighting skills, all that, but his main value is being the leader. And so that's kind of we'll have to see where Dick's value comes in beyond leadership, beyond his normal leadership role. We'll have to just wait and see. But I've always seen that's why Dick is there. That's his superpower, is strategy and tactics and all that. Anyway, I also kind of like the Roy Harper sort of angle, that he's back, and he's got that Roy Harper sort of grit and attitude. I guess that could be good for team, team conversations and conflict, and then there's that whole history that they allude to where he and Donna Troy at one time were an item. That kind of stuff might come up once in a while too. So, and then here we go again with the Clock King. DC's got some serious investment going on here in the Clock King, because we were wondering during Absolute Power what value he was adding to those issues where he was kind of standing around. Where do you think this whole Clock King thing's going?
I'm not 100% sure, but it's interesting, that he steps up here and basically says, "You thought Amanda Waller was a big deal?" It says, "You don't know anything about me." And I'm not going to pretend I know all his power set and that sort of thing. I know in this version, he has the little clock on the eyes, but, the old school version where he had a clock as a face looked a little ridiculous. I think his name is William Talkman. And it'll be interesting. He basically made everybody... the way he explains it here, he says Roy is the one that helped him, Roy is the one that basically helped him get into everybody else's head to see the past, like Donna sees the old Titans Tower, Raven thinks she sees Trigon and takes everybody out. And then Roy was remembering the past where he was a junkie and conflict with Green Arrow and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, before we move on, I'm going to make a comment about Donna Troy. Is like, and I read a lot of Titans stuff, and I always thought that she could have been more utilized for some reason. Like, she always seemed like, of course we know the history of the original Teen Titans from this, Silver Age, Copper Age, where Wonder Girl and because they were all sidekicks, so she kind of had to be there or whatever else. But she arguably probably the tank of the team, the strongest of the team. I've never felt like they. Maybe I'm missing something.
Used her the way that her power set is,
Yeah.
basically.
Now she's leader and stuff, but and I don't know if you saw that Titans that was on Max. Did you watch that whole series?
I watched some of it.
Yeah, I watched it all. I think it was 3 seasons. But like even in that, she was probably my favorite character in it, and she was barely in it compared to the others. So I'm kind of looking forward to Donna Troy being front and center. And I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm bordering on optimistic that this is going in the right direction. And then again, like we talked about when we covered the new Nightwing, where the shoes to fill with Tom Taylor was pretty big, and I had low expectations just deliberately, so I wouldn't be disappointed in this. I'm okay with this issue. I thought it was fun, and I think it's so far so good.
No, I enjoyed this. It definitely feels like, the all in jumping on point. This feels like a good jumping on point. You don't really need to know too much of what happened previously.
Yep.
So I'm excited for the following issue.
Cool. All right. So we're going to kick it over to you for JSA number 1, All In.
So, yeah, we're all in again with JSA number 1. And any name butchery, my apologies, because I got a tough one here. Your writer's Jeff Lemire, penciler, Diego Orlategui, and I'm probably really far off with that. Colorist, Luis Guerrero, letterer, Steve Wands, editor, Katie Kubert. And we get a cover here, and the cover, you have this new JSA, not with all the members, but a good many of the members. What did you think of this cover?
It was okay. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing spectacular. Let's just tell people you got this Dr. Fate, kind of a more enlarged than the rest.
Holding his hand out.
Then you got brother and sister Jade and Obsidian up front, and then you've got I still haven't got my head around the real name of the teenage Dr. Midnight yet. Maybe you know her name, but then you got I guess
that's Beth
Rick
Chappell.
Yeah, okay.
Doctor.
And you got Rick Tyler Hourman, and then you got the old fogies, Wildcat, Alan Scott, and Jay. So yeah, it tells us, okay, this is a blend of
new
the
and old
and the new. Yeah. But it's conspicuously missing a couple people. Those are some of my comments, so I'll let you do your summary first. Yeah.
In this issue, we see a brief montage to show the generations of the different Justice Society members. In the present, we find Obsidian and Jesse Quick capturing a pair of Cobra terrorists and figuring out Cobra's next target, the secret museum. Jade arrives and stops Obsidian from engaging in torture and orders the team back to the headquarters for a meeting. Later, we learn the JSA has several missing members and are at odds with each other over how to plan missions, and personal grievances come to light. Jade eventually concludes the meeting to give everyone a chance to cool off. Elsewhere, we see the missing Justice Society members in the Tower of Fate, which currently resides in a hell dimension of some sort, surrounded by an army of demons. Dr. Fate struggles to keep shields up for an extended period, while Jay Garrick races through the tower to find an exit for everyone to get back to Earth, and the issue concludes with Dr. Fate failing and Obsidian revealed to be Johnny Sorrow as we are introduced to the Injustice Society of America.
Well, there they are.
So, what an issue. I'll let you go first. What's your initial thoughts here?
Where do I start? I had some notes, but I mean, it definitely was packed with info, and it wasn't a full education on the entire history of the Justice Society going back to the 40s, but it did its job, I think, for an all-in jumping on point for anybody who doesn't like know that stuff. So, well done there. I liked a lot of the dialogue. I liked the action generally. What I didn't get my head around is, and maybe I missed something, is how they landed on this team, and who ended up in the reservists. And I'd love to be educated by you about that, because in the reservists, they show, they're in their meeting, and they show images of Stargirl, Atom Smasher, Black Canary, Cyclone, Power Girl, and Mr. Terrific. And all of those, and this is probably deliberate, I guess, is a nod to that Jeff Johns era that ran through the 2000s. All those members were in it at one point or another, and but it doesn't say like why they're reservists, other than I guess Mr. Terrific's focusing on the JLU. But aside from my girl Power Girl, which we could put that to a side, Stargirl seems to be a miss to me right now, because she started pretty much tied in with the JSA, because Pat Dugan, was Stripesy and her stepdad, and I thought she's a missing character. I guess I'll be okay to see how this plays out.
I thought that she would be a part of it. I did. I think who we got so far, we got the missing members. So that's Hawkman, Hawkgirl, Dr. Fate, the Ted Grant Wildcat. You got Green Lantern and the Flash.
Yeah.
And then we got Jesse Quick, Rick Tyler, Hourman, Obsidian Jade. You got Wildcat, who is Yolanda Montez.
Yep.
And as we said, Dr. Midnight, Beth Chapel, and Sand.
Yep.
And am I missing anybody? No, I
don't think
so.
It.
So
Wildcat 2.
And we have some relationships here that, have happened, and leading up to this, causing some drama within the whole group. You have this relationship between Rick Tyler and Jesse Quick, which she seems very aggressive against him, and losing her powers. She mentioned she lost her powers, absolute power, and he just abandoned her, and
she's got him back though, right? Or no? Does she have him back yet?
Yeah, I would think so. She would have them back.
Yeah, she was in that fight earlier, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
So
she's got her powers. I see all kinds of electricity.
It's an interesting team of young and old, and the thing I find interesting, if you watch the Power Girl series that was on the CW, we got Dr. Midnight from there, the exact Dr. Midnight, and Wildcat from there.
You wish there was a Power Girl series. You mean Stargirl?
Yeah, Stargirl.
Okay.
Did I say Power Girl? That's your fault. I blame you for that.
I don't blame you for blaming me, but I picked up on that too, man. The what's her first name?
Beth Chapel.
So the Beth Chapel Stargirl. I'm sorry, Beth Chapel, Dr. Midnight, and the Yolanda Montez Wildcat are like written from the TV show. They're the way that their attitude, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I felt the TV show coming out, which is a good thing, actually.
Right.
But I felt really cool that dynamic. And then I really liked the Jesse Quick, actually. I thought she looked kind of cool. For those
with
of you
those little goggles and
the goggles look cool, which would make sense if you're a speedster. I mean, shoot, the flies and the bugs in your eyes would suck. But so that was cool. And then what I didn't understand, and dude, maybe I'm just getting old, and that we talked about it a month ago. How did Jade end up being the chairman? Did that happen before this? And did I miss it, or is this presented to us now? This is the first time it mentions it, and we're just finding out now that it happened already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I think there are a lot of things going on in here that we're introduced to in this first issue, like the Jade and Sand relationship of some sort.
Yeah.
And just I don't know if we're this is a continuation. I think some characters, are continuing from the Jeff Johns run, real recent, which came out sporadically, and hopefully this book is pretty much.
I don't think we're going to have that problem. The one thing I thought was interesting. Let's just put that in air quotes for our audio listeners here that on this episode is, so you got these headers on, the first page has the Justice Society of America, and they're going into the history of them, and then the next page doesn't have a header, but it kind of covers the time period where Power Girl and Nightshade and Star Spangled Kid or whatever that time period, and then. But on that page that shows them standing around the table doing their meeting, it says Infinity Inc. on top, which I thought was kind of weird.
Well, some of them came directly from that Infinity Inc. series, so...
I know Obsidian, and I think Jay did.
And also Rick Tyler, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be.
Or not? Yeah, Rick Tyler.
I don't think he was. Well, he could have been maybe later, but that Infinity Inc. team was like, because that book came out pre-Crisis, and it had the daughter of Fury, the daughter of Earth 2 Wonder Woman and somebody else.
Yeah.
But and it had Power Girl and it had Huntress, and so anyway, I didn't understand the Infinity Inc. thing. I thought that was a bit of a reach and kind of unnecessary, and they don't even bother to explain.
Yeah,
it.
I don't know why the title is up there, Infinity Inc. I mean, there's a couple different titles that come up. You have the Mystery Men and Infinity Inc.
Yeah. One other observation was that, until the big reveal at the end where we find out that Psycho Pirate was actually imitating Obsidian.
Psycho Pirate?
Not Psycho Pirate. Sorry, Johnny Sorrow. Good catch. Fine. Hey, it's okay. But they kind of had the same mask thing anyway. I always kind of do that in my head, but then I know who they are.
Okay.
But anyway, the Johnny Sorrow turns out to be the jerky, aggressive, I don't mind killing or something, Obsidian. If you read old Jade Obsidian type books going back to Infinity Inc. and stuff, that rang true to me actually for the actual Obsidian, that he had this dark side.
Yes.
And so, I think Psycho Pirate, Johnny Sorrow imitating him and being that way was kind of believable. Like if he had done that with any of the other characters, it wouldn't work.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty clever. So I was down with that.
So I was pretty excited when I got this reveal of the Injustice Society, and I didn't know. I had to do a little research on some of these characters because I didn't really know some of them. Did you have issues with? You're like, oh yeah, I know everybody. It's that person, that person, that person.
No, I didn't know them all. I mean, obviously Grundy and Gentleman Ghost are easy to figure out. The guy next to Grundy is Wotan, isn't he?
Yeah, Wotan the Terrible.
Yeah, and then is that like a Cobra chick? I don't know who she
her
is.
name is Lady Eve of Cobra, and she made her first appearance in Batman and the Outsiders #24.
The sand guy that looks like a Sandman villain. I don't know him.
He's Dr. Elemental.
Oh yeah.
A couple of these people appeared in those miniseries that they did of the JSA character. You had the Flash.
Yeah.
You had Green Lantern, and the third one was it
Stargirl? No, it was the Dr. Elemental character was in that Jay Garrick mini.
Yes.
That had the boom and everything.
because he was actually according I think he appeared in the New Golden Age, but he was an academic professor of Jay Garrick's, and for some reason, he hasn't visibly aged since 1938, and I believe that's Dr. Elemental.
Who's the gal with the purple skin?
I'm not 100% sure. Oh, I'm not 100% sure who she is, but the guy below her is the Fog, who was in the Wesley Dodd. That's what I was thinking of. The Wesley Dodd Sandman mini.
Okay. He was in the mini, so that's that. And who's the guy in black with the little heart on his chest on the right?
The guy in black. Oh, Carl Sands, Shadow Thief.
Oh, it's Shadow Thief. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Shadow Thief, Gentleman Ghost.
Well, who's the gal who says we're just getting started? Who's she?
Oh, Scandal Savage.
Oh, Scandal. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, right on. Scandal's cool. I loved her in Secret Six.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. So this is a crew, and then
yeah, it's a crew.
So it'll be interesting to get to know some of these characters. And Johnny Sorrow, for instance, he was big in the previous runs of the JSA and that sort of thing. Wasn't he in that Power Girl special from like a couple years ago? You're the resident Power Girl fan. You should know this, right?
I think Power. You mean in the JSA Classified?
No, the Power Girl special from like a year or two ago.
Oh yeah, she was in. Yeah, I'm trying to forget that because that was this whole thing about like astral punching inside Omen's head and all that. And yeah, he was, dude. I almost successfully blocked that out of my memory how bad that story was, but you keep reminding me.
Oh, you're welcome.
But yeah, you're right. That's the last time we saw Johnny Sorrow.
So do you think this headquarters is like under the brownstone?
Yeah.
Do you think it's like in the basement? Because it looks like it's in a cave or something.
Yeah, it's in a cavern of some kind. It doesn't seem like a very practical place to hold a meeting, but it's got a nice effect. They're the bad guys, so they're in some cavern, I guess. That's kind of funny. I liked where the Injustice Society met in that Stargirl TV show, though. I thought that was very cool. That was pretty cool. All right, yeah, and it has one thing I guess I'll close with on this is it has a fun tempo to the book. Like, I don't think this is going to be super serious. It's kind of got the TV show vibe a little bit, minus Stargirl, of course.
Yeah, it does have a vibe. I think she's going to show up in a bit, but
why not? Unless she's not in JLU, is she? Well, everybody is.
Yeah. So,
but she's not a main, is she?
I don't know.
She's not. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. No, I'm excited about this.
I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Yeah, don't worry. I think it'll come out on the schedule because Jeff Johns isn't writing it.
No, I think that this flowed very well, this first issue. I mean, it introduced you to the new team, the team that's put together. We get some drama there, which is kind of interesting. We have a mystery of what happened to some of the missing members. You get a little Hawkman, which I love. I'm still kind of iffy on this Dr. Fate. I haven't read a lot of this Dr. Fate, but we will see. We will see.
You've mentioned that months and months ago, or whenever, just in passing on something we were reading, and maybe we were just talking to each other. I can't remember, but is it this Khalid guy or is it somebody else? Khalid. Yeah, I bought all those books back in, I guess it was New 52 or around that. I like Kent Nelson, man. I like that whole thing with Kent Nelson, and for him being retired and somewhere with his wife in some limbo place, living happily ever after. I like Kent Nelson. So it's not so much I don't like Khalid. I like Kent Nelson, though. I guess that's my thing,
I can understand that. I think what it is, I don't love the helmet.
Oh,
the new helmet has all these lines on it, and I don't love that as much. I'm sort of a classic. I like the old style.
Yeah, the shiny one where you can see your reflection in it and all that stuff. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm counting. So if you just read this book, let's say you're a new comic book reader, or you're just getting into DC or something. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 villains. There's like, I mean, you're pretty much introduced to like 25 characters in one issue.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is fine. It's like fire hose. Hey, yep, this is.
And we're complaining about they should have added a few more. You know, they should have had this person.
Where's Stargirl? You know. Anyway, but it was fun. It was a good way to start this thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very cool. Yeah, cool. You know, it's funny. We decided to do it. I think we would have done it anyway, even if we didn't like it, because it's JSA. First of all, I'm probably biased to like it anyway, just because. But anyway, I was pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I always loved that, and it might have been my favorite team book since the mid '90s. Yeah. The JSA book. It's just I love the way that team was built and how these new characters came about. One character we forgot to mention in here is Jakeem Thunder. You know, has some kind of illness or something from when.
Yeah, they mentioned that.
Yeah, so that's cool that he's on this team too.
Yeah, that is very cool. Yeah. Well, we'll soldier on.
Yeah, so that's going to be our DC Currents show. We're going to do this monthly with their team books, as we said. So next month, we're going to have another Titans book, Titans 17, JSA number 2, and we're going to get Justice League Unlimited number 1, which is a big one. So that should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You know what? I hate to do this to you. I guess it's an epilogue question, just so I can get my bearing straight. Jessie Quick, do you like her as Liberty Bell, or in that costume, or do you like this sort of flashy look? Because
I kind of like both.
Okay, fair enough.
But her look here was kind of cool, so
yeah, I
say let's leave her in this costume for now.
All right.
But yeah, I do like both.
Cool. All right. And one more thing, just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a book that's got just so much in it. We could probably go on forever because it's got a lot of layers to it.
Yeah.
But we'll stop there.
Okay.
Read the book.
Absolutely. And we'll be back here with another Gotham Currents, and we'll head back to Batman here before too long. And thank you for staying current with Gotham Currents. We will see you later.